Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to another episode of the X Factor Sports Podcast. This is your host, Jay Mondaine. We are in season 5, episode 10. You can believe it. We are at the 10th episode. We are getting close to 60 episodes. The season finale will be number 60. We hit milestones in this season of the podcast. I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We are on YouTube and Rumble. And if you want to catch the audio, you can get all of the 58 episodes so far on all platforms that give you audio podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, YouTube Music, all the above. So be sure to check out the X Factor Sports Podcast. We got a great show for you guys tonight. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. We're going to get into Major League Baseball awards. We're going to get into NFL X Factors for week 2. It was a great week 1. And we're also going to get into Tyreek Hill with the situation. All right. Before we get into all that, of course, we got to hit y'all with the layup lines the way we always start the show off with some quick news, some quick hitters. No pun intended. We're going to start with Major League Baseball. All right. We're still doing the Shohei Ohtani, Mr. 700 million, 50-50 watch. All right. For those of you who haven't been tuning in, the 50-50 club is what Shohei Ohtani is shooting for, making history. He'll be the first to ever do it. The 50-50 club is 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. It's never been done in the history of Major League Baseball. Baseball is over 100 years old. So this is a big deal. All right. He has 46 home runs right now and 47 stolen bases with a little less than 20 games left to go. I think he's going to do it. I'm excited for it. It's fun. We've had people hit over 50 home runs, obviously. We've had people steal over 50 bases. Ellie De La Cruz has got 62 stolen bases already, but he doesn't have the power for the home run. So the reason this feat is so epic is because you never get the combination of speed and power culminating into one player. So much so that nobody has ever hit 50 home runs and stolen 50 bases, right? Barry Bonds, when he was younger, he stole a lot of bases. He hit home runs, but he wasn't a very powerful hitter. He was a great hitter. And then later on in his career, when the legs went away, he wasn't as fast, and he moved from the outfield to first base, DH. He was a power hitter, and he hit more home runs. We're getting the treat to watch a player who is a pitcher by nature distinguish himself as speed and power and with an arm. He's doing this in a year where he's taking basically a sabbatical from pitching the ball because he had surgery. So he says, in my spare time, I'm going to hit the 50-50 club, do something no one has ever done in baseball. I swear, and I've said this multiple times on this show, Shohei Ohtani is playing a different game than everybody else. He's playing minor league baseball, or he's playing little league baseball, while everybody else is playing major league. He's doing stuff high school kids do, right? Can pitch, hitting the ball a ton, stealing all the bases, and he's just the most dominant player in the game today. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing him make this mark. He's got to steal 3 more bases and hit 4 more home runs. I hope he does it in exciting fashion. Like when he hit his 40th home run, it was a walk-off grand slam. Hope we get something like that, but it's going to be history for sure. All the young kids that like baseball cards, hopefully you can get a 50-50 card. It's going to be worth a gang of money down the road. So we'll keep that watch going every episode. I'm going to tell you guys where he is until he gets to the 50-50 club. All right. Over to college football. So we've had 2 weeks of college football already, right? Some exciting games. Shout out to all the schools in Illinois. You know, we had upsets. Illinois beating KU. Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame. It's just been the Bears win. It's just been a great weekend for Illinois, the state of Illinois football. But in college football, over these 2 weeks, before the real games start, quote unquote, for the Power 5 conference teams, right? They got the games where they paid the teams to beat up on them out of the way. So what did we learn in these first 2 weeks before the real games start? We learned that the SEC is the SEC. They're dominant, right? Georgia doing Georgia things. Texas can go on the road to Michigan in the big house, dominate. Alabama beating up on teams. Mizzou getting ranked number 6 in the country. I don't know if I ever remember in my lifetime Missouri football being ranked that high. If they have, I don't remember it. So congrats to them. So the SEC is just moving along, doing what they do, adding teams and still dominating. Colorado, something else we've learned, needs to stop being on television. All right. I love you, Prime. I love Deion Sanders. Grew up watching him. Love the shoes. Two-way player. All of the things, right? He's a great coach. What he did at Jackson State. Okay, now you got to start winning football games, man. Stop putting Colorado on TV. They look embarrassing. They're not great. I don't even know if they're better than they were last year, and they only won 4 games. As it stands, these first 2 games, they look worse. Shedeur Sanders looks like he's running for his life. Travis Hunter is the only weapon he has. So I know Jimmy Horn Jr. is on the team, but Shedeur doesn't have enough time to even get him the ball. So they just look real bad. They went to Nebraska, got beat up. The score doesn't really indicate how bad it was. It was 28-10, but it was 28-0 at half. So they got beat up pretty bad. So let's stop putting Colorado games on TV until they're actually good and winning games. All right. Notre Dame. Everybody, all Irish fans get excited about Notre Dame every year. There seems to be a weird correlation. I think Notre Dame fans and Cub fans are the same people, at least from where I come from. It seems like they're the same, right? They're the lovable losers. They go back to this era where, there was the glory days and Rudy, that type of stuff, right? I think those days are gone. Notre Dame will lose more games than they're supposed to lose. That's what I learned. Obviously, with losing to Northern Illinois at home. I think people want to see them in a college football playoff, now that there's 12 teams. But the arrogance of not being in a conference will do this to you. Because now you got to pick these teams. They're actually doing it the hard way. Yes, they're going to make money because they're on NBC. Shout out to Charlie Weiss making that deal happen. So now they get this revenue that they don't have to split with a conference, right? So I'll educate y'all real quick. A lot of these universities, all of these universities, when they're on television, the revenue is split throughout the conference. So, for example, if you have a team like Colorado that doesn't deserve to be on TV anymore in the Big 12, but K-State, who's good, I was going to say Missouri, they're not in the Big 12 anymore. When OU and Texas were in the Big 12, Oklahoma State, when they're nationally televised, that money gets dispersed throughout the conference. And so that's why you got the Longhorn Network from Texas, right? They were tired of the revenue split. Put our stuff on our network. You got all these other individual networks that they get their own money. Notre Dame, not in a conference, not affiliated with a conference in football, they have a deal with NBC, so the revenue is not split with anybody, all of their games. Notice you don't really see very many Notre Dame games on ESPN, ABC, any of those types of networks. They can't be on the SEC network. They can't be on the ACC network, right? Maybe they're basketball, but not football. So that's genius what they did from a football standpoint. But the arrogance on the other side of not being in a conference, now your schedule is way, way distorted. Because now you can't get in the college football playoff or play for a championship unless you play formidable opponents, because you don't have a conference to fall back on. How do we get formidable opponents? Okay, we got to play USC. We got to play Michigan. We got to play, you know what I'm saying? We have to kind of cherry pick through these conferences to get formidable opponents that are good enough to make our resume seem like we're qualified to play in a college football playoff. So I think they're going to lose more games than people think. They're 1-1 now. I see a couple landmines down the road. We'll see if they make a college football playoff, but they just make the road so hard for themselves because they're not in a conference. They can't beat up on the bad teams in their conference because they don't exist. You have to find teams to play. And you can't pick too many bad teams because that goes against you, right? So kind of puts them in a catch-22 there. So we'll see how that goes. But also, Last thing on college football, what we learned over these last 2 weeks. The Pac-12 is just weird, ain't it? There's 2 teams in a conference. How weird is that? Like, just get rid of it. Like, I know, I think I accidentally said Power 5 conference a couple weeks ago. Obviously, it's only 4, right? But the Pac-12, like, I was watching, we were out hanging out the other night, and Oregon was on TV late Saturday night. And or it was Oregon or Washington State, it was one of them. They still had Pac-12 on their field. It's just weird. There's 2 of y'all left. Oregon State and Washington State. Like, it just, the optics are bad. I know they want to kind of keep some of the nostalgia. Like this week, I think Oregon played Oregon State. Like the Civil War game used to be at the end of the year when it was rivalry. That's all out of whack. The Civil War game is in September now. Like, let's just get rid of the Pac-12. It's weird. So that's what I learned from these 2 weeks in college football. All right. Then lastly, on the quick news, NFL, we'll get real quick with this. Dak Prescott gets paid, as y'all know, 4 for $240, and he has the highest guaranteed money in NFL history. Leapfrogs Deshaun Watson, who was guaranteed $230, which I'm sure all of Cleveland scratching their head now about that. Dak gets $231. He was real humble about it too. He didn't say, he wanted the deal to get done, but he said, it was just my turn. I was next up. So he understands the market. But like I always tell y'all, the NFL and these organizations, even in the NBA, they tell you how they feel about the player without telling you how they feel about the player. It always works itself out, right? All these other pundits are talking about Dak's going to leave and he should wait and hold out for free agency. I was surprised that he signed the deal as well. But again, him signing this deal told me 2 things. 1, he didn't want to leave Dallas. And 2, Dallas didn't want to give him the opportunity to leave either, right? They understood. They have a relationship. Ever since Jerry Jones, ever since somebody turned his alarm clock on, he woke up and signed these deals, and they had an impressive week 1 win. So congrats to Dak Prescott. I'm always congratulatory to the players getting the bag. They deserve it. And again, he was just next up. He'll be the highest paid player in NFL history until the next quarterback deal is up. So congrats to him. $231 guaranteed. That's a lot of money in the state of Texas when you don't got them state taxes. So if you're going to get your money, get it there, right? All right. So let's shift to this. By now, everybody has seen the Tyreek Hill body cam arrest story. Everybody has kind of seen the Tyreek Hill thing, right? Everybody's made their opinions about it. I'm going to keep it real simple, or at least try to. So Tyreek Hill gets arrested. He was speeding. The terms they use are, excessive or aggressive driving, whatever. So he was speeding. We see the body cam footage. Police officer knocks on the window. Tyreek Hill says, "Man, don't knock on my window like that." Police officer gets agitated. He rolls the window down, gives him his license registration, says, just give me my ticket, I'll be on my way. At that point, the police officers got way too aggressive. So I asked y'all the question, if y'all seen this. Did the police overreact on Tyreek Hill? Right? When you put somebody in handcuffs, this is a black man talking to you about dealing with the police. When the police put you in handcuffs, when they have what they call subdued the suspect, he's no longer a threat. He or she will no longer be a threat to you if you put them under arrest, right? That was the whole point of being under arrest. Your arms are behind your back and they're locked together. You can't really do me any harm. So explain to me why they have to slam him on the ground and put their knee in his back. If you already have subdued the suspect for speeding, why do we need to take it a step further and be that aggressive? Why do we need to overreact in this situation? Yes, he's talking to you because Tyreek Hill is going to talk and be upset because, one, he's on his way to a game. If he sped and you caught him, cool. Give him the ticket. He requested, give me my ticket. He said, why you knock on the window? He rolled his window down. Yes, he rolled it back up. I don't condone that. If you're out driving, put all your windows down. Put your hands on the steering wheel. You don't have to say anything to the police. You have the right to remain silent, right? I digress on that point. Back to this, though. He was in handcuffs on the ground. Why do they need to continue to be aggressive with him after that fact? He can't do anything to you. If y'all don't know, Tyreek Hill is about 5'8", 190 pounds. He's a relatively small guy, right? There were 3 police officers, one being very aggressive verbally, cursing at him. He's on the phone with his agent like, I'm getting arrested. Police officer, stop crying about it. Well, you just slammed me to the ground, put your knee in my back. So, of course, I'm going to be upset. His teammates come to see what the problem is. They get overly aggressive with them as well. One of them, Calais Campbell, get arrested. So the question I'm asking is, did the police overreact on Tyreek Hill? Absolutely they did. Because once you've subdued, quote unquote, suspect, there's no reason to be aggressive anymore. You're in control. And there's 2 other officers there. So where's the aggression? He's not trying to get out of the handcuffs. He wasn't trying to get off the ground. He literally said, all right, bro, take me to jail. He is surrendered, right? Isn't that what is taught? If you surrender, they supposed to fall back. So it didn't happen. It got even more aggressive on the body cam. Y'all can watch the footage. But there was another nugget at the end of the footage if y'all didn't catch it. But that's why you come to the X Factor Sports Podcast, because if you didn't catch it, we give it to you. One of the officers you can hear in the background say, do you know who that is? They say, nah, who is it? The aggressive one. Nah, who is it? That's the superstar for the Miami Dolphins. The aggressive cop says, oh, shoot. Right? Didn't realize what he did. That's caught on camera. He knows he overreacted. And now, to Tyreek's point, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? He feels remorse and bad about after the fact, once he realizes who he was. So that tells you he already subdued this guy who's smaller than him and didn't even know who he was. Tells you he had no right. He just using his power, right? Abusing his power, I should say. So yes, he overreacted. And then when he found out who it was, he felt remorseful. So the message is just be careful out there, man. Do not play with these guys. We don't know who's good from bad. We don't know who had a bad day before they pull you over. It ain't worth it. Get home safe. I feel like I'm doing a 2-minute warning at the beginning of the show, but I wanted to touch on that because it was important to let everybody know the real story of what it was. It was an overreaction. So just be careful out there. All right. Enough with the heavy. Let's make it back to the fun. All right. You are tuned in to the X Factor Sports Podcast. We are on YouTube and Rumble. If you want to catch the looks, if you want to catch the audio, if you want me to catch your ears, you can get it on all the audio platforms. Like we talked about earlier, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Samsung Podcasts. I've been so many places right now, it's crazy, right? But you can catch it. You can catch it on the audio or the video anytime. All right. So now we're going to get to the MLB. We're getting to the end of the season. We're kind of at the tail end of the season. Wild card spots are being in position. Division champions are being claimed here. We got a couple exciting games left to go, a couple weeks left. So we're going to give y'all the Major League Baseball awards predictions for the American League and the National League. We're going to start with the National League, right? So baseball is done differently. They do their awards based off of the conference or off the leagues, so to speak, as opposed to the entire league, right? So we're going to start with the National League. So for the National League Rookie of the Year, I actually liked Paul Skenes from Pittsburgh. He's a close second, but I think that Jackson Merrill from San Diego Padres will win Rookie of the Year. Like I said, Paul Skenes was close as a pitcher. It's hard to deny a rookie who's batting almost 300, 83 RBIs, 23 home runs in his rookie season. Having a great year. The Padres are actually good. So got to give the nod to Jackson Merrill for the National League Rookie of the Year. I think that's where it's going to go. All right. For the Manager of the Year in the National League, I'm going to go ahead and say Pat Murphy from the Milwaukee Brewers is going to win that. Didn't expect the Brewers to be this good. This is going to be their second year in a row winning the National League Central back-to-back. So you got to show some love for Pat Murphy. He's been managing. He's been a bench coach. He's been climbed his way up the ladder for years. I think he finally gets the award and the props he deserves as the National League Manager of the Year. So Pat Murphy will win that. Then we got the National League Cy Young Award winner, which when I was looking this up, I was kind of surprised. But I picked Chris Sale. I think Chris Sale will win the National League Cy Young Award. For those of you who don't know what the Cy Young Award is, it's the award for the best pitcher. And there's a National League and American League Best Pitcher Award. Cy Young was a pitcher back in the day. They named the award after him. So I was surprised Chris Sale never won this award. He was a White Sox for years. I would have figured he'd have won the award when he was with Boston. They won the World Series in 2018. I figured during that run that he was there, he would have been a Cy Young Award winner. I was kind of surprised he didn't win it. I was thinking I was going to tell y'all he's won the Cy Young in 2 leagues. But with the Atlanta Braves, I think he'll get the nod. He's 16-3 this season, 2.38 ERA. He's got over 210 strikeouts. I think he's at about 213, something like that. Again, and I'm surprised this will be his first one if he gets it, the Cy Young Award, Chris Sale. And for the National League MVP, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, Mr. $700 million, Shohei Ohtani for the LA Dodgers. All right, about to create his own club. Going to be the only one sitting in that thing. He's in the club right now for 40-40. There's 6 people in that. He's about to build his own one, 50-50, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. Already made history as the fastest to 40-40. And taking a year off from pitching is crazy. So he's a dominant ace pitcher. And next year, I can see him pulling off something that his teammate has done in Clayton Kershaw, winning a Cy Young Award next year and a National League MVP. I can see that happening next year just because of how great and dominant Shohei Ohtani is all around. So I got him winning the MVP by a landslide. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. All right. Now let's shift over to the American League. The American League Rookie of the Year. This one was close also. We got, there's a rookie over in New York who could win it. But I think Wilyer Abreu from the Boston Red Sox is actually having a better season. 15 home runs, 55 RBIs. He's helping the Red Sox in the wild card race. So I think Wilyer Abreu will win the American League Rookie of the Year. He gets my vote. Over to the Manager of the Year in the American League, Stephen Vaught, the Cleveland Guardians. After taking over for Terry Francona last season, this is his first year as manager. He's got one of the best records in the league. He's probably going to win the American League Central. I give it to Stephen Vaught. I think he's done a great job managing this team in his first season. They had the best record in the league at some point. They were kind of juggling it with the Yankees and with the Phillies, but they're right neck and neck in that race. So I give it to him, Manager of the Year, first-year manager, Stephen Vaught. For the Cy Young in the American League, I give it to Tarik Skubal from the Detroit Tigers. He's been dominant all season, just like Chris Sale on the National League side. I think Tarik Skubal should get it. He's first and second in every category, wins, ERA, strikeouts. So I think he will get it. And he's got the Detroit Tigers playing some inspired baseball. They've been on a nice little run. I don't think they make it, but they've been kind of stepping on the gas here in these last few weeks. And then your American League MVP, again, I think the American League and the National League MVP been decided, hell, since All-Star break, as long as they stayed healthy. So the American League MVP is going to be Aaron Judge, New York Yankees. It'll be his second MVP in the last 3 years. Last 3 years. And the MVP is going to be coming from the two biggest markets. You got the National League in LA, American League in New York. It's great for baseball when those two teams are good. Aaron Judge has the Yankees going on all cylinders, one of the best teams in baseball. When he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the league. And like I said before, he won his first one in 2022. And I think he gets his second one. Got a chance to win the Triple Crown also. For those of you who don't know what the Triple Crown is, it's when you're first in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. I think he's obviously first in the league in home runs. And he's like second in RBIs, second in batting average. So third in our batting average, something like that. So he has an opportunity to do that. You know, the batting average is you go 2 for 4, 2 for 5, and you're right where you need to be in that. So I feel like he's got a chance to be an AL MVP and a Triple Crown winner. So, and he held it down when players were injured. Juan Carlos Stanton hurt. He still held it down and had them winning games. So those are my award winners in Major League Baseball. That's my prediction. We'll see at the end of the season who wins it. See how right we were. See how wrong we were. You guys let me know who you think. If I messed up or missed somebody, like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube and Rumble. Let me know what you think. All right. Now we got the baseball out of the way. So we're going to shift back to football. We got that segment y'all like. But before we do the X Factors, we're going to talk real quick about the team of the week. Team of the week. All right. Our team of the week is the San Francisco 49ers. In San Francisco, what they did this week, I was going to put the Dallas Cowboys for what they did to the Browns. But after watching Monday Night Football 2 days ago, seeing them completely dismantle the Jets, they have to be the team of the week. So we're going to do team of the week every week during the football season based on just sheer dominance, what they did on the field that week. All right. Even if a team hadn't won a game yet, if they win that week and they look good, Carolina Panthers, they can be the team of the week. But you can't tell me if you got 2 eyes and 2 ears and you watched and heard that game that the 49ers were not the best team in week 1. All right. The first drive, they punted the ball. After that, they scored on 8 straight possessions. On a team that's supposed to be a great defensive team. Everybody told me how great the Jets was going to be. But what did I tell y'all? This is why you come to the X Factor Sports Podcast. I told y'all I don't believe in that defense. And it's not because the defense won't be good. It's because they're going to be on the field too long. And they're going to run out of gas. Go back and look at the time of possession. They said this is the lowest time of possession game that Aaron Rodgers has played in his career. They had the ball for 20 minutes in a 60-minute game. That defense was out there for 40 minutes against one of the best teams in football. Yeah, you ain't going to look good. That's just the way it goes. Defenses get tired. They're not equipped to play 75, 80 plays. And then your defensive line getting pushed out of the way. Shout out to Jordan Mason for dominating over 140 yards in a supporting role, a backup role for Christian McCaffrey. So that's why I say the 49ers are the team of the week before we get into our X Factors. They scored on 8 straight possessions. They bring in a backup running back. He rushes for almost 150 yards. They demoralize what's supposed to be a great defense. Aaron Rodgers looks pedestrian. He looked like somebody that is looking over that cliff we talked about, right? Saw a couple of rocks kind of fall off of the tip of it. Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? And don't give me this, it's his first game, he's rusty and all that. The 49ers, Trent Williams missed training camp for contract. Brandon Ayuk missed training camp because he didn't get paid. None of these weapons, these are all pro players that did not train. They came together like they didn't miss a beat. Yes, Brandon Ayuk missed a touchdown in the end zone, but the continuity that they had and the game plan Kyle Shanahan had for them, masterful. So they the team of the week. All right. So let's get into these X factors though. All right. And you know the way we do the X factors, we do all of the primetime games and then we do a Sunday early game and a Sunday late game. So with that being said, for Thursday night, we got a great game Thursday night. We got 2 back-to-back weeks of great football teams. So shout out to the NFL for doing it right and not giving us, the Panthers versus, Boise State or something like that. Some 2 terrible teams. Random. So we got actually a division opponent, 2 teams that I think will make the playoffs. We got the Bills at Dolphins. And my X factor in that game is going to be Josh Allen. All right. Josh Allen is going to be the X factor in a lot of games because he's just going to have to be Superman. This isn't saying that he's going to win the game, but because of the weapons, he doesn't trust them yet. If you watched the game last week, he had to do it himself against Arizona. He doesn't really trust these guys yet. So I feel like he's going to have a great day just simply out of necessity. All right. He ain't working with much yet, so he's going to have to do it all. And if they beat the Dolphins, it's going to be because of him. He's going to have a monster game. I see about 240 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, and 2 total touchdowns. So if you got Josh Allen this week, be happy to bring him in. I think he has a big day against the Dolphins. All right. Nice weather out there. He's meeting the Dolphins in September. He should be good. All right. Then our Sunday early game. This is going to be a good game too. Saints at Cowboys. I just told y'all Cowboys would have been the team of the week if San Francisco didn't have a football game on Monday. All right. And the Saints. Shout out to Derek Carr, man. My apologies for not playing you this week in fantasy football. I had to play my boy Caleb, see what he can do. And Derek Carr was like, you messed up for that. I won anyway, but still, Derek Carr looked good in week 1. So congrats to that. But in this game, Saints versus Cowboys, I got CeeDee Lamb as the X factor for this game. With Marshawn Lattimore questionable, the ace cornerback, if you want to call him that, you got your main guy out, and CeeDee Lamb is going to be licking his chops. I think he has a day. They didn't get the ball to him very much in week 1. I feel like they're going to make an asserted effort to get him the ball this week with Marshawn Lattimore questionable. So even if he plays, he might not be 100%. I think Dak looks for him early and often. I see 10 catches, a $105, and a touchdown. You can book that. CeeDee Lamb has a day, and he's the X factor in the Saints-Cowboys game. For the afternoon or the late game, you got the Bengals at the Chiefs. I told y'all, we got some good games early. Bengals at Chiefs. Bengals didn't play a great game, lose to the Patriots. They're going to come in motivated. They have this thing with the Chiefs that they don't like them. They think they're as good at them, but the record doesn't say the same. So I think they come in and try to clean some things up. But at the end of the day, on the other side, I don't know how happy the Chiefs were with their performance last Thursday either. And so with that being said, I think Patrick Mahomes is the X factor in this game. All right. He looked real sluggish last week, but a win's a win. You got to take all these W's. It's hard to win in the NFL. But you don't become as good or as great as Patrick Mahomes unless you want to be perfect. So he's going to nitpick that film on what he missed, throws he missed, timing, and I think he gets in the lab, and I think he comes out a little more sharp on Sunday. And they got extra rest because they played on Thursday. So he gets a little more rest coming into this game, and it's an afternoon game that helps the legs too. So I'm going to go ahead and say Patrick Mahomes is the X factor with those extra days off. There's always some extra juice in the game playing against the Bengals and Joe Burrow. I see a 300-yard passing day, at least 2 touchdowns. I think Mahomes has a day. So he is our X factor there. In the Sunday night game, man, look at that. The Bears go ahead and get the number 1 overall pick, and they start getting prime time. Look at that. The Bears at Houston. And in this game, the Bears have a lot of cleaning up to do also. We did win the game, and Caleb Williams didn't look great. But on the bright side, and I'm not just saying this because it's the Bears, on the bright side, he is a rookie and it's his first game. He did not turn the ball over. That is a huge sign. That's a huge problem that we had in our quarterbacks past, is turning the ball over. In that situation, the Bears lose those types of games. The fact that he didn't turn the ball over allows us to go on a 24-0 run and win the game. Because if he gives that ball away in the second half, they have a chance to score. They get the field position. All those things matter. So he didn't have a great game throwing the ball statistic-wise, but he did not lose us the game, which is also equally important. I say all that to say this. This Houston Texans team is going to be good. And they looked pretty good in a road game against a divisional opponent. And because of that, I got Joe Mixon as the X factor in this Bears versus Texans game. Tony Pollard had a little bit of a game against us last week. So we need to shore up how we defend the run. And Joe Mixon is a complete running back. I would say he's better than Tony Pollard. I don't think I'd get any pushback on that, right? But he's a complete back. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He can run 400 yards. He's a very, very dangerous player. I see him as the X factor in this game, even though the Bears have a great defense. If we get into that zone, they're going to put schemes together to plug Joe Mixon into these spots on third down and move the chains and carve us up. I see him getting over 100 yards and a touchdown in this game, whether it's running, catching, all of the above. But I see Joe Mixon having a nice game and being the X factor on Sunday Night Football. Then we get to Monday night. All right, again, we talk about teams that got rest. The Eagles played on Friday night, and now they don't play again till Monday. So they got the benefit of going over to Brazil and coming back home and getting some rest and playing the last game of the week. So you got the Falcons coming into Philly Monday night. I think Philly has the advantage there, and I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the X factor in this game. So I'm not saying that because he had a great game. I'm not riding the wave or anything like that. I'm thinking very logical when it comes to football. If you watched the game last week, there's something there with Jalen Hurts. He is turning the ball over, and they're bad turnovers. It's not like a ball gets tipped or, he slipped and lost the ball. It's like he's throwing the ball into coverage. He's not making the right decisions. Instead of throwing the ball away, he's throwing it in the crowds. Like, you can't throw the ball up in the air into a defensive team meeting. Like, it's going to get intercepted. So it's just things like that the stench of last season is still there. So that's why I say Saquon Barkley is going to be the X factor in this game. I think they're going to put together offense to protect Jalen Hurts from himself. If you're a good coach, you recognize strengths and weaknesses of your players. And right now, I don't know how much confidence Jalen Hurts has in throwing the ball. I'm not saying that he's lost confidence. He's a very confident, good player. But as a coach, to win games, you want to put your players in the best position to succeed. I'd see the Eagles doing that. And when you have a Saquon Barkley, you don't have to rely on Jalen Hurts to do everything. And not to mention, the Atlanta Falcons gave up 137 yards on the ground to the Steelers last week. You can't give up 137 yards on the ground and then go see Saquon Barkley the next week after he's gotten rest for, 12 days. Not 12 days, sorry, 9 days. You can't give him that much time to rest. And when you got a premier back like that, when your defense gives up 137 yards. So I see Saquon as the X factor, close to 100 yards, but he gets 2 touchdowns. I think when they get in the red zone, if they're not in range to do the push, Saquon Barkley gets the ball into the end zone. He can catch it. His hands are getting better and better every year. And obviously we know what he can do on the ground with his feet. So Saquon Barkley is my X factor for Monday Night Football. If y'all like those X factors or don't like them, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think of them. Let me know if I'm on target. Last week we did pretty good. We said the 49ers defense was going to be an X factor in the game. They showed up and showed out. So we get some of these right. So y'all be sure to let us know what y'all think on that. All right. Now, before we get up out of here, we'll do the real 2-minute warning of the X Factor Sports Podcast. Season 5, Episode 10. All right, in this 2-minute morning, we're going to talk about not being a prisoner of your past failures, okay? If you're looking to be successful at something, or if you have a dream or goal, but there's some sort of fear that's there that's holding you back from doing it. You know, I was watching the Marlon Wayans, he was on Club Shay Shay podcast. He talked about he didn't want to do stand-up, even though everybody was telling him, you know, you got this gift, you should do it. And he's followed this lineage of great comedians in his family. Marlon talked about he had a fear of going on stage because then he would be compared to his brother Damon Wayans, his hero Eddie Murphy, all these people. And it got me to thinking about being a prisoner of fear and past failures. So he had been, you know, doing stand-up and been doing comedy all these years. Marlon Wayans been famous for over 30 years. Don't be a prisoner of the past or what you think people think of you, or past failures, or, you know, allowing those things to eat away at what you're looking to move forward. You can't look in the rearview mirror, right? Don't let this hold you back. What happened in the past. Time moves forward. Why can't you? Right? Yesterday is yesterday. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Right now is right now. So you have to be able to understand what happened in the past is the past. Don't make yourself a prisoner there. Everybody's moving forward. So time doesn't stand still, so neither should you. So that's my message for today. Don't be a prisoner of the past failures. Move forward and look towards the success. All right. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the X Factor Sports podcast on YouTube and Rumble. You can catch all the audio on all of the platforms that let you listen to podcasts. This is season 5, episode 10. We got 2 episodes left in this season, which is crazy. If you like the merchandise, you already know where you can go to get it, the X Factor Sports store, or you can reach out to me direct. Let me know your size, color, whatever. We get it out to you along with the caps. This is Jay Mondaine of the X Factor Sports podcast. We'll see you next week for episode 11. Peace.